This is HFO's Multifamily Marketwatch, presented by Pacific Exteriors Northwest, a contractor specializing in siding and exterior envelopes, delivering exceptional quality and service for over 30 years. By Aprio, combining DeLapp's Pacific Northwest experience with Aprio's global resources to offer unparalleled tax, wealth management, and advisory services for real estate owners. And by Kennedy Restoration, helping residential and business owners recover from fire, water, mold, and storm damage.
Welcome back to Multifamily Marketwatch. I'm Greg Frick, partner at HFO Investment Real Estate. Today we have with us Christine Drazan. She's running for governor in the state of Oregon. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're very busy as we're ramping up to the election.
Thanks for having me.
I thought it would be great for our audience to kind of hear from you, kind of what's your take on housing? We hear a lot of things about affordability, housing shortages, how much new housing needs to be built a year. I mean, what do you think is some of the reasons we're not hitting anywhere near those goals that have been thrown out?
I think that it has so much to do with our approach to every single venture that's a business-oriented venture in our state. So I think a lot of it is regulatory in nature. And I think a lot of it is also kind of the state of our economy right now.
Right.
And we seem to have some kind of an allergic reaction to being competitive with incentives in Oregon. So I think that's also a limiting factor. And when, I talk with people all the time about the single family part of the world. And obviously folks are anxious for interest rates to come down. But really, we have in Oregon just such a heavy regulatory burden for across all sectors that inhibits some of our economic opportunity. But man, in your work in housing, it's on steroids.
Right.
It's just absolutely on steroids. And whether or not that's the landlord-tenant side or getting the actual project done and deploying the capital, it's just coming and going. You guys are facing an extraordinary amount of regulatory pressure.
So would your plan of getting in office be looking at the regulatory? Because I know, land use is a whole other thing from the state standpoint, but then there's a regional metro. Is it, where do you kind of see focusing once you get in to try to loosen this up a little bit?
Yeah, well, when I think about the economy and across the board, we have got to get our regulatory environment in line with other places. Right. It's just not.
And not just in housing. This is
across the board. And when it comes to you guys, obviously you guys have the state that's come in and said, and found ways for you guys to kind of navigate some of the permitting processes, but really to have this like locally driven process where it's different rules in different places. I think that's problematic for certainty. But regulatory environment, taxation, and reputation. So we're open for business. We want to build housing. We want multifamily housing. We want single-family homes built. And what's it going to take to get that done? What have the impediments been within the industry? Where are we not competitive? Let's tackle it. But also we have to look at the regulatory side. So regulation, taxation, and reputation are the three things that I think about from the jump.
Join the HFO community and get weekly multifamily intel. Click to subscribe.
And that's, again, not just for housing. This is for business development. I mean, everything regarding the state. So,
yeah.
And is there something you would, jump on first to try to do that? I mean, how do you change that messaging across the United States? I mean, when we travel back east, you're like, oh, you're from Oregon? Wow. And you get this look like, geez, how do you do business there?
I do think that it will have an immediate reputational benefit to stop doing the same old thing. Electing me governor is its own expression of Oregonians saying, we want to have jobs here. We want businesses to want to be here, because then that means that I can find a good job. I can see increases in my wages. My kids can find a job. They can find a house here. My grandkids can live here. I don't have to get on a plane to see my extended family through the years. I think that Oregonians themselves are going to have started already, recognizing this is a very real opportunity. But how do you get off the dime? I mean, the list of areas where the state is at a deeper and heavier regulatory environment. There's literally dashboards out there. OBI has one, others have one, where we're starting to really compile the list of the worst offenders for the areas that are really creating the biggest challenges in the regulatory world. We've got problems with DEQ. We have problems with Oregon Water Resources Department. We've got,
It
problems.
just all adds up. It's not just
It
like
just
one. It's
adds
just
up.
when you add layer after layer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it just adds up. And so immediately, replacing department heads that are ineffective and don't know what they're doing, and being pretty selective about boards and commissions, identifying people with actual expertise to serve in these boards and commissions, and not just people that have an opinion. We have a lot of people with strong philosophical views on the world. That's great.
Right.
But should they be serving on a policy board that's directing the work of an agency? Probably not. We need more expertise. We need less politics in these boards and commissions. And on the taxation side, I talk quite a bit about the need to get our arms around local stuff that's driving some of these costs, in particular SDCs, and all the ways that we have cost drivers, not just the land, but before anybody builds anything, all of it's time, it's all of it that builds into that. And the state's a part of that problem. But for us, the state is uniquely expensive. We know the cat tax is crazy. Mm-hmm. And we know that we have other issues around taxation that drive costs uniquely here. And if you are in an entity that you're regulated, you pay full freight for that agency. There's no general fund backing that up.
Right.
So as an agency grows, the costs on businesses grow at the same time. So we just need to rein it all in.
And then looking at that side, how do you get that through within the state here? I mean, I do think there's a recognition that the way we have tax set up, the way we're not friendly to business, that's got to change.
Yeah.
It's weird. I do get that sense as I'm, going around the state and talking to people. Do you get that same sense as well? As it's, there is going to be some movement here?
I believe that there will be some movement here. And we may still have a Democrat legislature. And the beautiful thing about this is that there is such extraordinary opportunity on the executive branch side to take direct action on sort of the regulatory administrative state just from the jump. And immediately.
So that's something that on that side, that branch of the government can go and get right in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why this office is so important. I mean, the legislature, I have the opportunity, of course, to work with them and compromise and veto bad ideas, and stop bad stuff, and work with them to move legislation that would, strengthen affordability in our state for individuals so they want to move here, so jobs and people want to come here. I'll have to work with the legislature on that. But when we're talking the regulatory environment, so much of that, those are choices that our agencies have made to add administrative burden, and we can reverse that. It will just take time. We'll have to go through the process in reverse, where we post and we have public comment, and then we take some of those rules off the books. It won't happen overnight, but there will be clarity for what we are going to soften, what we are going to loosen, how we are going to come more in line with the federal approach.
And then back to kind of housing in terms of, you hear the word density all the time, but I mean, it's not just density, it's also land use and land planning. Do you see the state taking a bigger role in that if you do have municipalities within the state of Oregon that are not adhering to kind of the goal to bring more housing?
Yeah, I think that we have got to have local governments play their part.
Okay.
And they need to be a part of the solution. But also, I was reading something, and when Governor Kotek first came into office, she created a housing council to try to figure out how can we bump production.
We had some members that were kind of part of that,
which is great, right? To have a larger look at these things. But I was reading one of their work groups, one of their subgroups recommendations. And it reminded me how much work we have to do as a state that's within our control. We have rules around, randomly, wetlands. Mm-hmm. And they are more egregious, more extensive, more burdensome than the feds. And so the Supreme Courts have ruled, and across the rest of the nation, we now don't view everything that was historically a wetland to still be a wetland. Like if it falls and rain hits the ground and it puddles, like that doesn't make it a wetland.
Right.
But here in Oregon, maybe it does. And that means, so here, I'm going to get to my point here, that work group within their recommendations to the governor, I don't think she took them up on it, but their recommendation was if you take some of these areas that are designated as wetlands and they're not actually productive wetlands, and you allow them to be used for housing production, then you would have the opportunity within the UGB, without changing anything.
Without expanding the UGB.
Without expanding it, to produce housing for more than 60,000 homes without extending the UGB. Just by changing how Oregon uniquely looks at an issue that across the rest of the nation, they now have a standard, and Oregon's standard is more burdensome, more restrictive.
And can the executive branch do that? Is that something from the governor's seat they could do that?
Well, so no, the governor needs to work with the legislature on that.
One. Okay.
There's some parts of that are built into administrative rules that we can look at, but we got to this point by the state affirmatively choosing to put into our laws a heavier-handed look at an environmental question. And we all need wetlands. We all want to protect them. That's, conservation is critical, and that's an important part of our ecosystem. But also we need homes, and we need production, and we need multifamily units. We need housing, where obviously production isn't keeping up, even with our slowed population growth.
I know.
Production is still not keeping up.
Right.
So we should see where we're part of the problem, and we need to reevaluate and balance these interests and identify ways to bring more opportunity online.
And how do you weigh, how do you weigh kind of the needs within the Valley versus the needs in Eastern Oregon? Is that where it gets more local for those decisions? How do how does that work in terms of what's good for one's good for all, or maybe not?
I'm really, really supportive of local control, because I don't think one size fits all is a good idea, especially when we have a state that's as diverse as we are. Things that absolutely are a perfect fit in a metro core are just going to be a bad fit in the more rural and frontier parts of our state. But if you go out to Ontario, you recognize that Boise, across the border, is thriving and growing. And what are we doing wrong? Like, we should be that sister city like Portland and Vancouver.
Right.
And instead, we're frontier, and they are urban growth. And it shouldn't be that way. And so we have limitations there that specific to land use and some of these other environmental concerns that have hamstrung what they want to do in their own communities. And we've actually had to pass legislation to allow them some flexibility with their own lands over there. So we need to be able to identify ways to balance interests between the different parts of the state. But across our entire state, we need growth, we need opportunity, we need economic activity, and we need housing.
Okay, so what would be, in terms of some of the policy mistakes, what would be your first fix? Would it be regulation, zoning, funding specifically to housing?
Yeah, I would start, just because it is, within my control a little bit more, the regulatory side.
Okay.
And then I'd go to financing and funding, because I do think that question of site readiness and infrastructure and connecting these things is meaningful for ensuring that you can actually pencil these projects and they get built. I think incentives falls in there too.
Okay.
And then I think last you go to zoning, because that is that larger conversation.
Right.
And it's an important one, but it will be a longer term conversation, and the stakeholders are pretty diverse, and the perspectives are not close today. So that's going to take time. We have to do it. We have to have those conversations.
Yeah, we can't keep living on kind of the regulations that were set forth in the early 70s.
No.
The different times have changed. The state has changed.
Yeah.
Immigration patterns have changed. So.
And it is too much.
Right.
It's too much. If you set something that's, you give the bureaucracy the ability to grow and expand with no limit.
They have.
They just have. They filled in the space.
Yeah.
You've given us some space, and they've filled it right up.
Right. That's very true. That alone is causing a lot of issues. What, in terms of the business side, what would be your plan to, would it be incentives to get businesses to come back, to get on the radar again?
Yeah.
I'm not expecting we're going to bring them all back today or tomorrow, but at least be on the short list when they're looking to move.
Yeah. I talk a lot about how Oregon is still a pretty face.
Yes.
But that's not good enough anymore.
Right.
And so I think to get people to come back, we do need to offer some carrots. Oregon has been beating people with the stick for a really long time, because we think that they're just going to keep coming. And they've been voting with their feet, and they've been leaving. And certainly, record bankruptcies, extraordinary job losses in a variety of sectors. And so, yeah, I think that we need to be willing to recognize today, given the environment, given where we fall in the rankings, given how unattractive we are for investment, we need incentives.
Okay.
And we need to tell people we're serious about them coming here and we're serious about them investing.
And then we're kind of wrapping up all that. Would you be open to, one thing we've had in our industry and our audience has been the lack of different stakeholders involved in some of these work groups, committees, recommendations. Are you open to bringing, I don't want to say, there's different stakeholders that have been there before, but they're all involved in the housing side. Are you open to, different groups hearing different voices?
Yeah, I think that this is the thing that has always frustrated me. I don't feel like I'm a politician. I feel like I'm an Oregonian.
Right.
And I am not a housing expert. I don't know who needs to hear that out there, but as somebody that's asking to lead and I'm asking to serve in a capacity that I think is going to has the potential to have positive impacts, that means that I have to be willing, and I am willing, to listen.
Okay. Well, that alone, it'll be a big change. Because again, in our industry, it felt very one-sided, or when different stakeholders were invited, it almost sounded like the agenda was already set. And were they really interested in hearing the perspective? Because again, at the end of the day, rental housing providers and tenants want the same thing: safety, livable places. And it's not, now it's gotten almost weaponized with each other. So trying to bridge that gap again.
Yeah, and I do think if you want to serve tenants and renters, and that the way that you support them is they want more choice too.
Right.
They want more places they can afford, and they want to be able to live someplace that is attractive to them and safe. As well as being an environment that is one that they actually want to spend their time in. And I just think that, to have such a constrained market, we have all these artificial state interventions to try to protect renters and tenants and all those things, with this assumption that landlords and owners are not going to do right by them. That's not true. They want people to live in their facilities.
Exactly, yeah.
So I just think, we need more for everybody.
Well, we heard that here in Portland with the whole vacancy tax. There's nobody that really wants to keep their property vacant for, I still don't understand the reasoning why. I talked with some of the council people and it still made no sense, but it's
upside down world.
Yeah.
If you have a struggle, tax it. That has been the governor's answer to everything.
Right.
If there's a challenge, tax it. The vacancy rate is such an absurd extension of that principle.
Yeah, no, I think, well, for people that want to learn more about your campaign, they can go to the website below. I know you're really busy. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to our audience, and good luck in November, and we'll be pulling for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we'll see you again next time on Multifamily Marketwatch. Thank you.
HFO's entire office specializes in multifamily real estate, making us the largest multifamily brokerage in the Pacific Northwest. Your success is our passion. Like and subscribe to Multifamily Marketwatch videos on YouTube, articles on LinkedIn, and podcasts on all major streaming markets. Build your legacy with HFO. Call 503-241-5541 or visit our website at hfore.com for more information. HFO is a partner of the Global Real Estate Advisor Network.
Love the insights? Tap the like button and click subscribe. It helps us bring more multifamily news straight to you.